Today's guest is a role model to so many, especially women and young girls. She works incredibly hard, showing real transparency through both the highs and lows of being a hybrid athlete. And she'd probably beat you in a race too. But before we get into this, I want to say a huge thank you to Parliament Square Coffee for allowing us to film. But anyway, let's get into this. So Georgie, there's only one place I think we can start, and it's all your events. How do you manage to do multiple HYROX events, marathons, and recently training for an ultra? Where does the energy all come from?
Do you know what? I think I just love a challenge. I love to have something on the go, and I think training for performance, having a race in the diary just helps you feel locked in, which I think is an important part. And HYROX race tickets, guys, are like the lottery. They're the absolute lottery. So if anything comes up, I'm like, yeah, just get one, just get one, just get one. So that's probably why there ends up being like quite a lot in the diary. It can be a little bit exhausting, but I think because I've got variety in there, I need that. I'm definitely a little bit ADHD. I definitely just need something on the go.
Do you think you're guilty? This can be positive or negative to trying to keep busy, shall we say?
I wouldn't say like probably for anyone specifically. I think part of my job as like a coach and content creator, like I definitely hold a standard for myself. And if I can show that I hold that standard and inspire others, whether that's, you know, to do their first, you know, even 10K race or 5K or half marathon, whatever it is, then I think if I'm continuously doing those things, not at the expense of anything else, but just for the love of the game, essentially, and it helps someone, then yeah, I think that's probably why I'm as busy as I am.
True, because you can't fully give advice out or preach or say anything to anybody if you can't back it up. Because why would somebody want to get on your program to do their own 10K or half marathon or anything, whatever, if you're not doing it?
100%. No, I am definitely a believer of that. Like everyone that I've invested money or time into, like I've either aspired to be like, or, you know, liked them as a person or their credentials. So I think, I definitely hold like a standard. I'm definitely my own harshest critic.
I think we all are. We're all guilty to that.
I think as long as there's a little bit of love in there, then we're all good.
What's it like managing? So even physically, because obviously doing several different training blocks, it's going to be physically demanding on your body, but also mentally. What's it like? I was thinking switching between doing a HYROX to then going to, for example, London Marathon coming up. How do you have to, it might sound funny, but shift, like you're a different athlete at certain times?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a different demand to them all, for sure. I think dependent on where I am within my season. So for example, I've got London Marathon coming up, and then I've got HYROX Worlds after that. That's like my A race and B race of the year. And I think this is how you tend to split things out. Like you have some structure, so it doesn't feel like you're having to do it all at once. But I think in terms of coping with the demands, like I've got a coach myself. I think all coaches probably need coaches because we're only human beings at the end of the day. And if I can make sure that I am in the best state, both physically and mentally, then I can give like far more towards my clients as well. I've got a great boyfriend who deals with the fact that I'm just constantly on the go and the different demands. But I think as long as you've got structure, you can do it all. You just probably can't do it all at once, if that makes sense.
Yeah, true. You've got to manage what you're doing and the output at the certain points.
For sure.
But it is, at the same time, they all come so close together, don't they? So it's... In a way, though, because you're running in both events, so you are still getting that training planning, aren't you?
Yeah, for sure. Like, it's definitely complementary. I think, like, a half marathon and a HYROX are more complementary. A marathon's a little bit different, and maybe an ultra. But I think, you know, it's helping you build, like, a really strong aerobic base, which is something that, like, all athletes or everyday athletes need. So, yeah, I wouldn't see it as wasted. And it's good for content as well.
What about the highs and lows then? How do you try and stay, shall we say, level, grounded between some races are going to be unbelievable, some races are going to be challenging,
Yeah.
especially when they come thick and fast? How do you stay level-headed?
I think like definitely from the get-go, I always say to anyone that also comes on board as a client is like no journey is linear, like at all. And I'm, as much as you can have a perfect plan, you're probably going to have to go into some plan Bs, plan Cs and Ds. And that's totally fine. I think it's also managing those expectations that no matter how much you do in terms of in your training, come race day, it might not always execute as well. I definitely experienced that early on this year. So I went into my Manchester Pro race solo at HYROX, and it was the first DNF that I've ever done, so I didn't finish. And I knew that I wasn't well enough basically at the end of the day. And I got to like after the burpees and I just thought, I can either do this and just do this because I've got an ego to say that I've finished a race and you know, I made sure that happened, or I'm going to make myself worse and I can just step away now and just and be done with that. And yeah, that hurts, but I also felt like some sort of pride in doing that, because knowing when to stop and also recognizing that, hey, it's just one of those races. There's going to be another one. There's going to be another one. And not, I think, solely basing your whole value and worth off of one race is really, really important, because we've all had bad runs, haven't we? Like we've all thought and gone out with the best intention and thought, this is going to be the best run ever. And it ends up being shocking. And you think, oh my God, why? Like I'm such a rubbish runner and blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, you're just going to have them. And you probably have them on a, you know, a monthly basis or maybe even a weekly basis. But dealing with the fact that ultimately no journey is going to be linear, whether it's sport, life, like you're going to have to deal with some roundabouts. And I think in order to cope with them better, like having a really good support system around you is key. So yeah, that's probably what I'd say.
Yeah, very true. But I also think actually allowing yourself to expect them.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Is going to help as well. To be able to be like, knowing already, like, today might be great, but it might be bad. But knowing like, oh, I can deal with it because high or low, I'm still going to carry on, because it's just, like you said, it's not a linear approach. It's always going to be constantly up and down, straight, and then incline, and then back down.
Definitely.
It's never one route, is it?
And like, you know, same applies in terms of effort to every single session that you do. 100% on a day-to-day basis looks different. You know, especially as women, like I find like us going through a different phase in our cycle every single, like every other week. You know, 100% effort might be 80% of last week, or even my 100% today might be 20% of what I did last week, but I'm giving my all. And I think that's something that most people need to just like recognize, that as long as you're putting in effort and you're doing what you set out to do, the execution might not always be the dream outcome, but there's always another opportunity around the corner, and just not letting that be the defining reason.
And not rushing as well.
Yeah.
I think that's like, it's a huge thing that we all like put timescales and like, oh, by next year I want to be at this position, but it's like just unrealistic. And then you're just setting yourself up for being hurt and pain and unnecessary failure, because it's
definitely,
it's sometimes it's like I was like this when I first started. I was like, if you don't see 1,000 views, you're like, oh my God, what am I doing wrong?
Yeah, like that external validation.
And then one week it's like you get over it and there's no difference. It's just that video was better than that one.
Yeah.
And you can probably relate with like your socials, some videos, you're like, oh my God, this did amazing.
I know, like I say to my mum and dad all the time, I'm like, I literally took like 5 seconds to think about that concept, put it out there, and it's gone viral. Yeah. And then, you know, I spend loads of time on like editing this, and then like my mum likes it. And I think, oh my God, come on. I know it just doesn't.
It's like when people say watch my 5 steps to the guidelines of how to do it. And it's like, there's no guide, there's no book, there's nothing. You've just got to do it. And it's with everything, isn't it?
And do that on repeat and on repeat, because more and more exposure will allow you to know, like, you know, what's your style of content, or what's your style of training, and do you even like HYROX? Do you even like running? Like, are you just doing it for because it's a trend, or are you doing it because you generally love the game of it? So yeah, I think, you know, more and more exposure to anything's a good thing, because you can make your own opinion of it, can't you?
One quote that I found that was quite good, that was interesting to what we just spoke about, was realize sometimes it's not your day. Don't look to blame external factors.
Massively.
Because I feel like we all are guilty to that as well. It's like, it could be the weather, it could be
the ref.
It could be anything. Yeah, it's not. If it's a team sport, it could be the ref, it could be the judges weren't on my side.
Yeah, no, for sure. I've definitely, I think when I was younger, probably more guilty of looking to push for external things, when actually now I think being more secure in myself, I just very much own the fact that if it's not my day, it really isn't my day, and that's totally fine. And then it was someone else's, and actually being happy for somebody else. I think that's a massive thing, is that, you know, I know so many girls within the industry who are technically my competitors within the sport, but I have the utmost respect for them. And ultimately, if it's their day and they got a better time than me, or they got a PB, then happy days for them. And I think that actually makes you probably go back into training a little bit better, rather than be hurt by it. So yeah, I think being happy for others, and not pointing out, you know, oh well, you know, the judges made me lose 3 reps on wall balls, or, you know, I was really ill going up to this, when you definitely weren't ill. Like, you know, those type of things.
I think you can never truly accept something if you're constantly looking for someone or something to point the finger
For
at.
sure.
And you can't. I don't think you can learn from it, because the ego's getting in the way of, like, making, shall we say, well, it is an excuse. It's not like,
it is, it's a massive excuse, and it doesn't aid you. It doesn't help. It doesn't allow you to go into the next race, or the next challenge feeling any better about yourself, because you haven't really learned anything. You've just kind of masked it with something.
Yeah. Now, more personal to you.
Yeah.
Competing. What makes you want to push yourself so much to constantly improve the limits or get to the next level? What is it about competing?
Yeah, I think I am definitely a competitive person. Like, growing up, me and my brothers, so I've got an older brother and a younger brother. We were always exposed to sport, and, you know, being exposed to sport, and I was a dancer as well growing up, I just constantly was basically not performing, if that makes sense, but I just always wanted to see what I was capable of. And my parents were great at being like, just do it all and see what you want to do. And I kind of refined that as I grew older. But I've just always got a very competitive drive of wanting to be the best version of me. I think growing up, it was always like, do I want to be better than her or that person? But now it's like, I just want to be the best version of me. And I think, having potentially gone through my history of having an eating disorder and being very critical and competitive in that sense, I transfer that now into performance, which is far more rewarding and far more achievable as well.
It gives you more achievable goals.
And purpose. Yeah, a lot more purpose. Like, it allows me to feel really secure and less critical and actually more competitive. And I just love it. I've been brought up with brothers, and they were constantly challenging me, and we were constantly having races and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I just love the game. I can't imagine not doing something practical.
It's part of your personality.
Definitely.
Isn't it? I think it also brings you together with other people. No matter, like you said, if you're racing against people, if it's singles in an event or whatever, doubles or a marathon, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's like, you're still doing something with the community. You feel like you're doing stuff with others.
Yeah, it's that where community is like super, super powerful. I think having, you know, your own goals, but being able to share it with other people who are just challenging themselves is a really, really lovely thing. So yeah.
So, all events, all training, what is the one thing that you would say you've taught about yourself from everything? From
all all the exposure to the different challenges.
Yeah. More as a person. than in a sport?
As a person, I think it's an interesting one. Probably the fact that there's always going to be someone better than you, and that's okay.
Ooh, yeah. Sometimes that's scary, doesn't it? It feels like,
because I think that, especially maybe as a girl, you're constantly trying to be like, prove yourself in that sense.
Yeah.
But I think as long as I can take a way that like I've tried to challenge myself as me, and have I beaten my time from last time, and if I haven't, okay, maybe why, or have I enjoyed that race, and if so, but not getting hurt by the fact that actually there's going to be someone faster, there's going to be someone stronger, and there's someone faster and stronger around the corner, and that's okay. And I think over time, competing has probably actually encouraged me to really drop this like self-ego and just enjoy it, like really enjoy it, because at the end of the day, we spend money running around in circles, so we might as well enjoy it.
It's like people you lose the fact of like what you're doing it for.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I do really think it's a you against you type thing, because I've spoke about this to people in the past, and I really do believe it. It's, if you focus on like somebody else, you're only going to be the second best version of them. You're never going to be better, where nobody's going to beat you at your game.
No.
So why would you want, when you actually deep it, why would you actually want to be somebody else or be as good as somebody else, because you don't know what they're going through. Or
you don't actually know those other factors, or, are they a full-time athlete? Have they got two kids at home that they've got to look after? What are their resources and stuff available? You could go into all of it, but again, they're excuses at the end of the day, because you're, well, not excuses, but it's just that comparison, and that whole saying of comparison really is the thief of joy, is something that I completely stand by. And I think the more that you can just focus on what's in front of you, what can you control, how can you challenge yourself, do you enjoy the challenges that you go through, that's going to encourage you to find more happiness there.
You've just literally got to go with the cards you've
got.
100%. Now, this obviously stays close to your training and your hybrid lifestyle, but you're absolutely flying with your socials.
Oh, thank you.
Congratulations with the Gymshark, by the way.
Thank you very much. Thank
you. What's it like being that presence on social media? Is it difficult?
Yeah, I think because I've stuck with it, and I think that's like anything, just stick with it, because there's going to be moments where you're probably going, why am I posting this? And does anyone care? And I think actually the more that you can do it for yourself because selfishness can be a good thing as well. Yeah. You're getting something out of it, and you may be helping one person, and then over a couple of years you recognise that you're helping thousands of people potentially. So I think managing socials is definitely a full-time job in itself. Like it 100% is a full-time job. Content creation is a full-time job.
Constantly thinking. Yeah. Being relevant. It's such
100%. And I think if you can jump on certain trends that are relevant to you, fantastic, do it. But I wouldn't also jump on everything, because it doesn't need to be, just because someone else that you've seen doing it within your industry, it doesn't mean that it maybe means anything to you. I think that's something that I've definitely learned over time, is just stay true to your guns, because how you show up online is how I show up online is how I'd like to show up in person as well. I don't want to ever be this different person or put on this facade, or just because, I want to get X amount of followers or something.
You get found out though as well.
100%.
Because you can only be somebody else for so long.
100%. Like I've definitely been surprised when I've met maybe a few people in person and gone, wow, you're actually very different to how you are online. And that's, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but I think I just very much want to be bubbly Georgie.
It's easier though, isn't it? It's easier as well. That's the funny thing. You'll never run out of ideas because you're being yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
That's your life, isn't it? But if you're trying to put on a bravado and be somebody else, you'll run out of ideas.
Like I think maybe there's maybe sometimes when it comes with competing, around like HYROX or having to sign up to certain events, there maybe is like those social pressures of being like, well, oh, why isn't Georgie doing London Marathon? And it's like, well, or if I was or wasn't, or why isn't she doing Manchester as well as London? And you know, I got an offer to work with a brand to do Manchester, and I actually turned it down because I just knew it wasn't going to be probably the right call in terms of, you know, injuries and things like that for me. I've got to be really, really careful with it. So I think sometimes just because it's going to be a piece of content online doesn't always mean that you have to say yes to things as well.
I like that. No, that's honesty, because people
just
think,
for the likes.
Yeah, because people are like, you've just got to say yes to everything.
Yeah.
If it's going to negatively affect you.
And I think that's something that I, like, if you ask my boyfriend, he'll be like, you just don't know how to say no to certain things. Because I think being a coach, like, I want to help. And I think if there's opportunities that come your way, especially early doors, I'm like, yeah, just say yes and then make your opinion about things. But I think being in the position that I am in now, where I feel a little bit more secure in myself, I kind of go, that's probably not going to benefit me. And it's okay to say no and turn things down just because it's not going to go online and it's not going to affect your whole entire business or, you know, future steps.
What is it? So this is more me asking a question to better me. So I know, and probably people out there themselves got a similar story, that I need to grow my personal side a bit more. But consistency is one of the things that I'm guilty of, I'll be honest. And then also constantly procrastinating what to actually capture. So what advice would you give to me or to anybody out there?
I'd say as long as you are putting out things that feel true to you, do it all. Because you will find your own pattern and voice, and, you know, whether it's your own sayings that you might say on your podcast, like as an intro and things like that. I think the more that people can get to know you by just doing all, the better. It might not go viral, and that's totally fine. And I think that's something that we all just have to be conscious of, that like that's totally fine. Like, I put out things on a weekly basis and I'll go, oh, I actually really like that. And I'm fine that that's only got like maybe a couple of thousand views and something else has got hundreds of thousands. But I think advice in terms of growing the personal, probably put more on your stories, you know, show the behind the scenes, show the imperfects. Like I'll just go and run down Crosby and I'm absolutely blowing in the wind. My hat's fallen off. I've put that online because I think, actually, do you know what? That's what me and my friend were genuinely doing. I'm not trying to make that anything other than what it was. And okay, yeah, we're all guilty of, you know, putting out polished pieces of content. But Instagram is just a highlight reel. So the more that you can show, I think, behind the scenes like you would in your everyday life, like where you grabbing your coffees from, like what is your coffee order, you know, all those little details that people pick up on. And that's how people get to know you. And that's when people respond to stories and maybe start conversations. And that might lead to me coaching a new client. Like, I just think the more that you can think about how you would show up with your friends, show up online. Maybe not all the conversations,
like
but
that, I like that. I like that thought. Yeah, show up on your friend's side. Yeah. No, I like that, definitely. Do you think? Now this one is back to you. Do you think social media has added pressure or opportunity, or even both, to you?
100% both. Like 100% both. But I think it depends on. I think pressure is a good thing. And that's why I probably take on as many challenges as I do. But I think if pressure's at the expense of your happiness, it's a bad thing. If it's at the expense of your health, it's a bad thing. So, for example, I could sign up for something that scares me, but out of like, I know I'm capable of doing it, but whoa, it's still like a really big goal. I'm going to go do it. If I think that, for example, something is too far out of reach right now, I might just not go and do it. But going back to the social side of things, it allows for mass scale of networking. And I think if you are not taking advantage of that in 2026 or in today's day and age, whether you are an individual, you know, a business that runs like with multiple employees, you're not doing it right. And I think don't be scared by that. Get excited by the fact that, you know, I could connect you to someone, you could connect me to someone. That could bring a massive opportunity. It could, you know, allow a podcast to get X amount more views. So I think, again, that kind of goes back to showing up as yourself, as be willing to be rejected as well.
Yeah.
And you show up and go, do you know what? I'm going to ask. And if I don't ask, I don't get.
Oh yeah, of course. But it's a true skill. I'm sure that, I can't remember, but there's a book or there was a documentary out there where a guy every day of the year intentionally went out to get a no,
Rejected.
be
Yeah,
rejected.
yeah.
And each day it got bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
But it was like, by the end of it, all the lessons he'd learned from, like, he was comfortable to ask or do anything, because it was like, it
Definitely.
shows how little
Yeah.
rejection actually is.
No,
Like, he'd go and be like, when he was getting his coffee order, could I get my coffee for free? And he, 9 times out of 10 is going to say no.
Yeah.
But then, like, one time he did get it, yeah. And it's like, it just shows.
Definitely. And that kind of all, I guess it all goes back to ego, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If you can drop that kind of barrier
And let yourself
you
go.
are opening yourself up to more opportunities potentially, because you are not putting yourself on this. I think it's important to have standards. I think it's important to have expectations, 100%, and hold myself to them. But if you are putting yourself on such a pedestal where you are fearful of asking like a big brand, hey, like, I've got this coming up, for example, you know, a key one for me. I've got HYROX Worlds coming up. I absolutely love the brand. Like, I use it on a daily basis. Can we do something, whether it's like a gifted or paid opportunity? They could go, nah, see you later, George. Like, no, can't do that. Or, yeah, actually, we've been looking for creators to do that. It opens up another conversation. And maybe if you do that once or twice, then the fear drops and you do it again.
Well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I truthfully have done it to, like, big people you'd be like, you'd want to get on in the future, but it's like, maybe I'm not ready, but that seed's been planted. And
but you'll never be.
You'll never
That's
be.
the thing. Like, that's a massive thing, is I don't ever feel completely ready to do anything. And I, you know, for example, HYROX Worlds coming up, I'm in training for that, but I always feel like a little bit scared about it. But I also think that's a good thing, because then you're not staying within this whole comfort zone. And if your dreams don't really scare you, then you're probably doing it wrong as well.
You're not dreaming big enough.
No, exactly.
Now I want to track back to where it all began, your upbringing. Do you think that's where your, shall we say, characters and love for sport first developed?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. So, born and brought up in Dubai. Lived there till I was 18. So I was primary school, secondary school, all throughout. I think being in a hot climate, you were constantly, you know, swimming, playing netball outside, track. You know, there was loads going on, and sport was a huge, huge part of my life. And both my brothers played a lot of rugby and football, mainly rugby. And I was constantly around that. So I think as well, the community in Dubai is really close knit, because it's quite small. So, you know, sport played a massive role within that.
Definitely. Do you think it's like intentionally, or even not, made like your mindset of how you go into life every day today?
Yeah,
Even without
100%.
thinking,
Yeah, I think
from picking stuff up from your parents or even your brothers, because probably you've picked stuff up as a kid to be like, like you said, your competitive side.
Definitely.
Maybe if you didn't have them and you were a child, it'd be like, you wouldn't be as less competitive.
I think we all influence each other, don't we? Like, the people you surround yourself with, like, make a huge, huge impact. And that's why I think, like, your friends make a huge impact on who you are, like your communities. So no, I think the community out in Dubai, but also my parents, the influence that they had on me, because they were both sporty people, competitive people, driven, not just in like sport, but also in work and life. So being in that environment in Dubai, I think it kind of encouraged that competitiveness. So it definitely has transferred into other areas of life, for sure.
Well, when we were speaking last time, there was something that I really wanted to pick up and ask you about, because it was a trait or way of how your mum and dad brought you up that I was like, wow, this is really powerful. So it was, you said they were never pushy, but if you were good at something, don't waste the potential, and definitely don't worry about messing up.
Yeah.
Now, like, that must, like, when I was thinking of, like, for anybody, that must have give you so much confidence just to do the thing, be a kid, even nowadays, be a kid now, and basically be free of pressure.
Definitely. I think I feel grateful for the fact
Mm-hmm.
that my parents encouraged, I think the word probably has encouraged me
Yeah.
to go and fail and succeed. They were never pushy. But I think if I was good at something, whether it was, ballet growing up or sport, they would tell me. And I think my parents would also tell me if I was absolutely rubbish at something as well, which they did.
I think that's powerful though as well. You don't need people who are bad at stuff.
No, exactly. Like,
at.
I think I'd be the same, if my child came to me and went, am I great at this? I'd be going, no, probably not, babes, do something else. But no, it's definitely made me probably now, I think, I'm 28 now, and I feel the most confident I've felt in myself. And I think that's having gone through just life over, your early 20s are the hardest years, I think, honestly, of your whole entire existence.
God help you then.
Yeah, good luck. But I think it's also so important to have that exposure and recognize that, you're probably going to be your own worst critic, rather than other people around you. But as long as you're setting, standards that you feel are realistic and challenging without it being like critical of yourself, I think that's the most important thing. So getting through probably those early 20s where I just wanted to be this perfect person, even though like my parents weren't saying that, my brothers weren't saying that, my boyfriend wasn't saying that. I think, I had to kind of come out of that and recognise that actually nothing good comes from that, because no one's perfect.
Definitely. What was then, obviously you mentioned being brought up in Dubai. Do you think, how pivotal was that part of?
I feel like it played a really big role. I'm really happy that I was brought up in Dubai.
Well, you said it raised me. That was something.
I really do feel like it did. I think that culture is a competitive one. I think it is one where you're striving to be the best in your area, whether it's, your industry or, have nice things. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think a lot of people potentially put that down, or think of you to be like better than somebody else, when actually a lot of these people have just worked for it and worked hard for it. And I think that's where this sort of ingrained feeling of like, I will work hard for something and not expect something to come for me. And that's why I work hard in my training. So I work hard at my coaching business, and I want that freedom to be able to go and do that around the world. And having now a business online, I think that's also come from that exposure growing up in Dubai. So
to seeing it's possible.
Yeah. And kind of actually, I've watched Dubai evolve. My parents definitely have. They've been out there for like 35 years.
So was you born there?
Yeah. It's been cool to see that evolve, and I kind of feel like we've all evolved with it.
Definitely. What would you say? So you've been in Dubai from a kid, and then was it 2015 you said you moved over?
2015.
So you've got a strong contrast of being into both places. What do you think the biggest differences between the UK and Dubai are?
Outlook on life as a general term, I think. And I know that seems quite, it's a very broad statement, but I think a lot of people, and maybe people won't be happy with me saying this, but I think a lot of people in the UK probably have more of a thought process of putting people down, whereas people outside of the UK are more encouraging of people's successes, or celebrating success and challenging yourself. And maybe that's because they're doing more themselves. And I think that's what it comes down to, is maybe there's a lack of culture in the UK to go and try and challenge yourself, or be an entrepreneur, or go and succeed in your field, because it's like this safety box. And, there's nothing wrong with working a 9 till 5. There's nothing wrong with doing these things, but it's also so okay to go and be different to that.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. That was some of my thoughts when I was thinking of like, if I was asking myself that, because it's like the UK kind of, I think there's obviously going to be some people around you who are going to be like 100% supportive and that.
Yeah.
But I think in general, if we're talking, a lot of people have a chip on the shoulder, and it's like you said, it's a safety net of people like to see people succeed, but once you get to a certain level, they're like, come on now.
Yeah.
You're getting too big for your boots. So people don't like that.
Yeah.
Where the likes of your Dubai's, your likes of America, I feel like you can do anything and nobody will question it because it's like, dream as big as you want because
Yeah.
it looks and it seems like anything is possible because them environments there is people doing that. So it's like,
Yeah, definitely. I think there's more people breaking out of
Mhm.
probably the norms.
Mhm.
And there's definitely a lot of people, I mean, am I allowed to swear?
yeah, of course.
There's definitely a lot of people bullshitting their way
Yeah.
through life.
Mhm.
And there's definitely a lot of people putting stuff online that probably they don't own that
Mhm.
G-Wag and they don't
Yeah.
own these
Yeah,
things,
of
but it
course.
looks like they do.
Mhm.
But, you know, some people do and they've worked really hard for
Mhm.
it. And if you want to spend your money on something else that, you know, or someone wants to spend their money on things that maybe you wouldn't,
Mhm.
again, that's totally fine. I think people are very quick to judge because it's outside of what they would
Yeah.
do.
Mhm.
But what they're doing isn't hurting you. So
Yeah.
I don't
Of
understand why
course.
people
We
comment.
we take it so personal, don't we?
I know.
Anything that anybody either puts out or somebody's doing, it's like, well, I wouldn't do that, so
Yeah.
it's wrong, but it's not, is it?
I even get it on my like HYROX posts.
Mhm.
You know, you'll get a CrossFit person commenting like, "This is the worst sort of fitness thing to ever exist," and you think, God forbid, the
Yeah.
girl's just running around
Yeah.
in circles.
And you're enjoying it, so like,
I know,
just, yeah.
I know, I
It's like,
know.
I truthfully, there's a quote I live by, and it's opinion's the lowest form of knowledge.
Yeah.
Like, it is, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
if you've just got to take people's opinions with a pinch of salt because it's all it is. There's no value to
Definitely.
it. There's nothing behind it. It's just what they do.
Yeah, and it's as long as you're secure in what
Mhm.
you're doing, then crack
Mhm.
on.
So would you definitely say if you would moving back beyond the cards in the future?
I think with
So,
everything going on at the moment, it's a little bit of a tricky one. I've always had like a longing to go back there. For sure. I feel like it is home. I do always feel that sense of, oh my God, I've come home every time I go back. I would say never to moving. I think if opportunities come my way or, you know, it works out for me and my partner to be that side of the world or anywhere else for that matter, then I'd take that opportunity because I think I definitely see the UK as being like somewhere that I can always come back to.
Yeah.
And, you know, again, this whole fear of maybe I had that vision and maybe it doesn't go the way I've planned it, wherever I am in the world, call it Australia or whatever, I can just come back.
I think it can be a hub, can't it? I don't think it has
Yeah.
to always be, you have to be centered here. And it's because I do think the opportunity over here is growing.
Oh, no, it
But
massively is.
There's so much more out there as well at the same time.
And I know it definitely is. I think there's loads of opportunity in the UK if you go and seek it. And that goes back to, you know, socials, for example, a great opportunity to just go and connect with brands or connect with people in the industry. And there's loads going on in the UK. Anyone that said that like the UK's not got potential is lying because like you're probably just, again, whether it's fear or lacking the expertise or knowledge to go and do it, like as long as you're putting yourself out there, it will come back to you. And maybe, that leads to a year abroad and you come back. But I just think, the more that you go and connect with where you are.
Learn from another culture as well. I think it's so powerful. I think it gives you so much more openness to, and like we said, so much today dropping the ego. You're going into somebody else's culture, so you've got to, or you're not going to be able to live in the culture.
Definitely. That's what I loved. That's what I love about Dubai, to be honest. I think it is, as much as it is my home, I also very much recognise that like I'm actually in someone else's country. And I really love the respect and the culture that has like the food, the lifestyle, you know, even the language. Like I love it. I think it's a beautiful language. And, you know, I think I kind of then have taken that coming back into the UK, which is a very multicultural place as well, and respecting of other people. I think that definitely having that exposure early doors was key for me.
Definitely. Well, we kind of touched on it earlier. I think you mentioned it. At certain points through, shall we say, your teenage years and young adulthood, you said you felt different at times.
Yeah.
Would you be okay and open to talk through this time and how you navigated
Yeah,
it?
of course. Yeah, absolutely. So I think growing up in Dubai, there was lots of like tanned blonde girls, and I was like the palest person in the whole entire world. But no, I definitely felt maybe a little bit different, and therefore I think that led to a little bit more being of that critical voice. I was always good at sport and had like a really good baseline, but maybe abused the fact that I was able to go and do that and then focus on maybe changing my appearance, which I think when you reach those hard ages of like, say, 13 to 19 as a girl, you can become very critical of yourself, whether that's because of, you know, your environment or social media, again, constant comparison. And it kind of led me down a bit of a slippery slope of falling into an eating disorder, which then in turn, sort of pushed me away from actually what I wanted to be, which is kind of the athlete that I am today. But yeah, long story short, went into therapy, managed to ask for that help and the support that I needed, which I would encourage anyone to do if you're in a position where you feel like you know something needs to happen. Speak to people around you. That's what I did. I did it for years though, and then actually had to make that decision myself when I felt like, no, I was ready to do that. Got the support, and now I'm in a position where years on, I've kind of rebuilt those foundations that I definitely should have done when I was like 14, 15, 16. And it's led me to having a higher appreciation, I think, for my body, the people around me, and what like I can do rather than just like what I look like.
What do you think was the turning point to that? What do you think made you like, shall we say, like a wake-up call to like realization of...
Yeah, as in before I went into, say, therapy.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
that coming to want to stop, like, change,
yeah, I
like,
think
the change.
two occasions for me. So it went on for years before I knew there was always something wrong in terms of my behaviours, and I was very aware of that. It wasn't like a state of denial, but I also, your irrational brain's a massive comfort zone, and it will keep you trapped, and that's like your safe zone, even though it's not serving you. But I finished university and I went into a full-time job working as a strength and conditioning coach at a private school, and it was an amazing school, amazing team of people, but basically it put me in a position where I was working 6 times a week, and I was very critical of myself. I was constantly on the go, again, being able to like exercise all the time, undereat, and I just got to the point where I was generally burnt out. And I think I remember turning around to my mum and dad and I went home to Dubai and we made a list of like, what are all the pros and cons of me staying in this line of work, and what all the pros and cons of me going to therapy. And there basically wasn't any cons. And I just went, I need to go and do this for myself, because I know that I'll just get worse and worse. So that was the first bit. And then kind of recognizing that I no longer needed to be in therapy. I was in a group setting. Sound like a right case. But no, I was in a group setting at this eating disorder clinic, and I just kind of had this light bulb moment where I went, oh my God, like I'm so fine, and I know I need to get out of this environment. Like I can't explain it other than I kind of looked around at everyone else in this room and thought, I know you're not getting out of here because you're not doing anything about it. And I do not want to be that person. And I have so many dreams and things that I want to do. And the only person that is stopping me from doing that is me. So I just had this like mad realization, and then spoke to my mum and dad and said, you need to stop paying all this money for me to get better, because I think I need to just go and do it myself. So yeah, I then basically went back out into the world. Didn't put too much pressure on myself to, again, become this person or this athlete, and went through a bit of a rebuilding sort of phase, and took that upon myself to make sure that I found other things that made me feel really happy, that weren't just sport. And, you know, I think that goes back to your relationships and your friendships and who you surround yourself with. So yeah, they were probably my 2 boundary kind of moments.
Yeah, because if you think about it, if you put too much of like one thing into this is your personality, then like I think you lose yourself so much, and you lose people around you, because it's like
Yeah.
you get lost, don't you?
Definitely.
I
like,
love how you were able to just, the light bulb moment to just go and take
yeah.
that jump, isn't it?
Yeah. No, it was,
Get rid of the comfort blanket in a way.
it was because I just thought, again, I could stay here and continue to, you know, ask my parents to help me when actually I kind of had the tools. I just probably was, again, fearful of putting it into action.
Yeah.
Because then you are stripping away the plaster and going,
That's
you
the
need to
hardest
sort your
part.
shit out now. And no one else is coming to save you, basically. So yeah, I think there was that massive movement, but it opened a huge amount of doors. So if you're ever scared of doing something, like, go do it, because I think you never know what's around the corner. And I'm still met to this day with things that I go, oh God, that didn't go well. Or, you know, I wish that didn't happen. But like, I'm now capable of like just moving on.
Moving on.
Yeah.
And accepting.
Yeah.
Definitely. If you could, so I know hindsight's a great thing, but if you could, with everything you know now, and go back, what would you tell yourself?
My younger self.
Yeah.
To stop being a knobhead to yourself, basically. No, I'd probably say just stop being so critical of yourself when you have not even lived yet. Like, I hadn't even exposed myself to the world. I was 13, 14, 15, 16. Like, I do not know what life is at that point in time. And the only thing that I've got is a phone and social media and comparing myself to, you know, girls around me and all that kind of stuff. So I would very much be telling my younger self, or if I'm, you know, lucky enough to have a daughter, to go and just enjoy figuring out who you are. Like, that journey, again, is never going to be linear. But recognizing that nothing good comes from being your own worst enemy. Like, it doesn't at all. You can't expose yourself and enjoy life with being horrible to yourself. Like, it doesn't help.
No, definitely not. Well, I was quite thinking deep about this, and I was wondering, do you know, with obviously going through them challenging times and now looking at the person you are now and seeing how important and passionate it is for you to, obviously you're helping people improve by your coaching, you're putting real relatable content out that people can jump on and like, "Oh, I agree, and like, I'm going through similar things." Do you think that's really been a pinnacle to you wanting to do that so much? Your own challenges?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it definitely reinforced. It's like, it's very rewarding to see, you know, when you can help someone, or someone comments and says like, wow, this really helped me get through a bad day, or I really needed that reminder today. Like, thanks so much. Like, that's rewarding for me, because actually I put those things out as my own sort of therapy. It's like, it's very much, it helps me. And if that can help someone else, then perfect. But it's definitely an encouraging factor, especially with women, because I think so many women probably silently suffer with how they feel about themselves, and that's not to say that men don't at all, because I think probably men do silently suffer a little bit more, but it's very common that women have those levels of insecurities with their body or their appearance. And I think if we can move away actually from what we just look like to how we can perform, or actually what can our body do, and you know, I can do that through my socials and connect with other women, then yeah, that really does make the world go around a little bit better.
I might be completely wrong as well, but I was thinking, I was like, do you think you've subconsciously made spaces that you probably needed growing up, such as like the running club, what you put out? Do you think you're doing what you maybe needed when you were younger?
Yeah, definitely 110%. Like, I 100% agree with that. Like, with the social side of things, I definitely want to be an example to my younger self. I would love to be an example to a future daughter or son. Like, I want to be putting out messages that I probably needed and still need. And I think, because like anything, you can constantly we're not perfect. Like, I'll have days where I go, I don't feel really great in myself today. Am I going to action anything from that that's negative? No, not at all. I might put that into a post and express that, or journal that. And if that's helping me, it's likely to help somebody else. And even if that's one person, then that's brilliant. But for example, the run club, again, a key example where I moved my PT business online and I kind of stripped away all of that like human connection in that sense, like genuine human connection. And I thought, well, how can I build running, which is a massive part of my training, and social connection? And I thought, okay, amazing, a run club, and build that community. And I did that last year, and we built Hardy's Run Club, and it was definitely one of the best things that I could do, because it's a contact time for me on a Tuesday morning. You know, we go for our 5K, we grab a coffee afterwards and a croissant, and, you know, maybe even one connection a week makes my whole week a little bit better. So yeah, they're definitely selfish things that hopefully help other people as well.
We all do it though, because like everything we do is for ourselves, but also can benefit others. Like your social page, my podcast, I do it because I do really
it's good exposure,
because I'm getting knowledge off you, but then I'm giving the knowledge to other people.
Definitely.
So it's like, and it's give and take. So like you're putting stuff out and you're getting stuff from it, but then obviously people are either looking up to you or taking stuff from you, and it's like it goes hand in hand.
Yeah, definitely.
It?
We all help each other, and you never know what like a small conversation can have. Like at a run club, you're building connections, you're building, you know, friendships. You know, you might have you might come to the run club and not feel so great, have one small conversation and walk away feeling better, and that's a win. There's always a win in a conversation.
Why in general do you think people are comparing themselves to others more than ever, I would say?
I think because we've got such readily available access to do so through our phones, like through socials and Instagram and TikTok, and it's this constant, like, you're constantly filling your brain with opportunities to go, wow, that's so cool, or they've got that amazing car, or wow, she's traveled there, and well, why aren't I doing that? What am I doing? And then maybe that makes you feel worse. But sometimes I think, well, maybe use that as a drive to be like, well, I want those things, and there's nothing stopping you from doing that as well. So I think social media definitely plays a role in it, but I think also you can kind of filter that. So I don't follow anyone that I think would negatively influence me. I don't follow anyone who I think is potentially spreading a message that I don't believe in just because they've got 100,000 of followers. Like, I think you can actually take that control back and have a social page that you open and go, wow, that's really cool, or I'm really inspired by that. And, you know, I want to follow that podcast because they have really good chats. Like, I don't want to follow that podcast because they talk about topics that I'm not interested in. Like, you can have an opportunity to take that control back. So as much as there's maybe pressures or comparisons, just don't invest time in it. Like, take the control back.
True. It's like completely, I think you can tell so much about like the last 5 videos that somebody watched or the last 5 podcasts somebody listened to, because if you truly tailor it to your personality and not just because like everybody follows them, or like you said, they've got thousands of followers that they're putting content out just for quick views, shall we say.
Exactly.
Nonsense that's going to put you down, then it's like that is a real killer for people, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I always think as well, like, you see people that's like, they're 21 and they've got this, and like, what am I doing wrong? They're a millionaire at 21 and I'm not even nowhere close to that.
I'll have to send you the video, because I think it was either my boyfriend or I think it was my boyfriend or my brother, I can't remember who it was, sent it to me, and it was like just a reminder that most 21-year-olds who are millionaires are not actually 21, they're 58 or whatever. Most people who have got their first expensive car are not 25, they're actually 60. And this whole comparison of your age is a massive killer, because you think, actually, do you know what? Who does have that much disposable income at the age of, even in your late 20s? Like, you're just getting to know life, you're getting to build your foundations, and you're
why should you even? Like, that's the question that you should ask yourself. Like, why should I have that?
Exactly.
What have I done to deserve that?
I know.
And if you did be able to get that, you're not gonna feel the feelings you'd get from actually working towards to get it.
Definitely. And also like, okay, well, let's say you walk outside and you beep your car and you get in your fancy car, but actually going home and you don't have a great friendship circle, you don't have a great partner, you don't have those things, like, actually that car is worthless. Absolutely worthless.
It changes nothing, doesn't it?
No, and just because it's put online again, people don't see behind
Mhm.
those kind of the background. So I think, yeah, you've just got to kind of take it with a pinch of salt, and also just because people have these flashy things maybe doesn't paint the whole picture.
And listen and consume what you
Yeah.
actually need and want to.
Definitely.
From moving on from what we just spoke about being conscious about perfection
Yeah.
or comparison, you seem now to be in a stage where it's like, excuse my English, but not giving a fuck mindset, and also like you eat perfectionism for breakfast.
Yeah.
Why do you think you're in this stage, and what's it like? Is it refreshing to feel like in this mindset?
Yeah, I think I'm in this stage having gone through the hardship, to be honest, and going through, I guess, the trauma of years of eating an eating disorder and coming out of it the other side. And actually, now that I am the other side of that, recognizing like, wow, the amount of time wasted. And it's, we can all say that, can't we, in hindsight, but it has allowed me to have, kind of going back to the comparison side of things, a direct comparison of like that kind of existence to the existence that I actually do want to live. So yeah, I think I'm very much in a position now where, having gone through hard times, and recognizing that I don't want to do that again. There will be more hard times for sure, but things potentially that are out of my control. If I can control something, or whether it's my opinion, I value that more than somebody else's. And I think that's also why showing up online and not being afraid to do that has allowed me over the last, say, 18 months, or maybe even in the last 6 months, to grow a lot more rapidly, because I feel like I'm doing this for me. Like, I'm not doing that for that external validation. There's always, you always hope that it hits, and you always hope that someone's going to invest. Like, you'd be lying if you said otherwise. But I think my outlook has very much changed based on the trauma that I've gone through. Sounds a little bit fucked up, but yeah.
It's like the fear of doing stuff in the state of fear. It's so crippling, isn't it?
Oh,
like,
massively.
You just totally, you're not living in the present.
Massively.
I think I spoke to you about this anyway. It's like we so much live in the past and the future, and never the present. Like, for you, it could be, that last HYROX was amazing, or me, that last podcast was so good, but then this one didn't do as well. Why is that? And it's like, I want to get to here, but I'm not there yet, but I want to be there. And it's...
I know, and then actually, because you're so worried about it, you do nothing at all.
Yeah.
And then you don't do things that actually align with what you want, or who you want to move away from, because you're so worried. And I think that was a really big part of like my eating disorder, is it kept me in this like box, because I was constantly in a position where I was fearful of maybe making that change or having that exposure, which when I maybe expose myself to, I don't know, whether it could be on the smallest of things, like trying something new food-wise, I'd feel guilty, and then the guilt would stop me from actually then making those changes. And guilt is the worst emotion ever.
Course, yeah.
Like, it's worse than being immensely sad. It's worse than being crazily angry, like, because it quite literally stops you from doing anything. And I think if you can move away from ever feeling guilt or fear, then you'll continue and you'll just keep moving and keep moving forward. And it might start slow. It's like anything, I on socials had 1 follower, and now I've got a few more. And then I'm speaking to a few more people. And when I first started my coaching business, I had none. Then I had 2, and now I've got, tens of thousands, not thousands, but a good few women that I'm helping out. And that's all just happened through giving less fucks, really.
It is, isn't it? And just like the constant repetition of the consistency, but it does come down to not caring, even if it's not caring from exterior, from other people, caring yourself about the position you're in or how others might view you, because like you're not where you are. Like that, I think that was something that I struggled with when I first started. It was like, what do you think people think of me like? Because like I've got a podcast, but it's like, I'm not big, so it's like, have I really got a podcast?
Why do people care?
Yeah.
Someone will always care.
Of course. And it was like, I didn't want to say to people like, oh, I've got a podcast, because it's like, well, it's only just started, that it's not proper.
Yeah.
But we're all like that and we're guilty of it, but we shouldn't be like that. We should just...
No, because then again, we're making excuses for why it can't be good.
Yeah.
Or why actually you enjoy it. And just
Yeah.
because someone else doesn't, then that's totally
Yeah.
fine. But no, I do think that you should just stick with your guns. And if you like doing something, go for it. Like, I was so scared to start a fitness page. So scared. And I think, what? Like, just, I would encourage anyone to do, whether it was you wanted to showcase art or fashion or lifestyle or everything in between. I even put out a post, it must have been like over a year ago now, but it was like a video of me, and then it said over it like, aren't you scared to start that fitness page? And then it like zoomed out in from the world, literally. And I just thought, that just shows that like there's so many people on here. Why do I care about maybe Jane and Mike's opinion on my comments section? So yeah, it's just important to kind of maybe take a little bit of a step back and go, actually, I'm gonna say, what am I scared of? And whose opinions am I worried about? Because if you're not offending anyone, crack on.
There you go. It's like, I could ask you this, like, imagine you never started it.
I know.
Like, where would you be? You probably wouldn't have had the opportunities. Or I think also one thing I think that is really good about social media is, if you are doing something like a fitness page or you're trying to grow something, you've got to intentionally live that life to do it. And if you're not, then you're not going to get the content to do it. So I think sometimes being your social media self rubs off on that being in your life.
Yeah, no,
and then
for sure.
your standards become higher.
You kind of like, it recycles itself, doesn't it? And you reinforce, like, if I am a coach and I hold myself to these standards, yes, you best believe I'm going to show up for that HYROX. And yes, I'm going to document it because it's part of my job and it's part of my marketing as such for being a coach. And, that, again, that's not, I think people get that confused maybe with like boasting when it's not. It's actually just sharing your challenges and your successes and your losses, which I definitely do. And to be fair, one of my best performing videos this year, which I don't know if it says something about social media, was actually when I did DNF my HYROX race and I spoke about it. And I went, life is really not easy breezy all the time. And I might have gone in with the best intentions. It didn't happen. And then loads of people from, well better athletes than me came forward and said, thank you so much for speaking about this. Or I actually had this recently and I didn't speak about it because I was fearful of, maybe not being looked at as a well-rounded athlete. When it takes away nothing from you, you become more human, you become more relatable. And I think I never want to move away from that. Like, I always want to be a relatable person.
Of course, because
whether it's for guys or girls,
Because I feel like people just like, they hone in on that. And people really feel that. And it's like, I think it gives people their own, like,
it
just
does.
to be like, hey, someone else is like that, or someone else has DNF something. It's like, it's not just me. And it's like, we all do it, no matter who you are. If you're like the best athlete in the world or you're just an everyday athlete.
Exactly.
It's, completely. What about the balance between caring and overthinking? Because I think it's trying to...
it's a hard one. I think it's so much easier to say to somebody else, isn't it? Like,
of course.
If you're overthinking your podcast, I'm like, oh, chill out, it's so fine, blah, blah, blah. And then same with like, if I've got a race coming up and I'm like really passionate about it, my boyfriend will be like, well, it's not life or death, is it, George? Or,
But you're not doing it.
Like, but you haven't told all these people that you're doing it. But no, I think you can, the balance, it was your question around balance with how you would handle, I guess, like the pressure and overthinking of these things.
It was, how do you balance caring without overthinking?
I think the caring side of things goes back to, if you have a genuine internal joy for doing these things, you will always have a high level of care, which I do. But I think I don't care as well in the same breath to be horrible to myself if things don't go wrong. And that's not to say I might have initial disappointment. But in terms of the overthinking of things, if you haven't put in the work, don't expect to do well. If you have and it hasn't gone to plan, accept that, reflect, and just move on. Like, that allows you to then be constantly present and taking one step forward, rather than like, again, this blame or moving things in terms of like, oh, I'm not going to be good anymore, or this is my time's up. I think it kind of catastrophizes this whole thing if you are constantly overthinking. So I think the care side of things is always there. I have a high level of care. I'm in a line of work with coaching where I care a lot, but you know, when it comes to me and overthinking, at the end of the day, I'm just paying to run races and enjoy that. So
yeah, when you break it down,
yeah, it's never that deep.
Was perfect. that was unbelievable.
It's never that deep.
I want to read out what you said.
Yeah.
As long as relationships are good, life is fine, whatever, wherever you are.
Yes, still very much believe and agree with that.
How pivotal or important are relationships for you, either partner, friends, even just community through your running club, or I even would say competing with other athletes? It must be. What's that like?
I think your relationships are half the reason why a lot of the reason why you're happy. Like you say, that doesn't have to be your partner. That can very much be your friends or who you surround yourself with, whether that is, you know, a mixture of family, friends, or colleagues, because they're influential on you. And you know, I'm with someone who he very much encourages me to reach my full potential and not be afraid of that. But also, when maybe I am overly caring to the situation, reminds me that it's never that deep. I think as well, when you do strip back everything else, so competing, you strip back challenges and doing all these things, if you're not left with good people around you, then what's the point? And also a big part of my whole coaching is staying balanced, because I was that girl that wasn't balanced, and I very much took it to the extremes. So now when I do have my downtime, or, you know, I go home in the evenings and I speak to Alex, my partner, I'm present and I want to be there, and I don't need to be speaking about HYROX or marathon training or things like that, because I've got other things going on, and that's because I've made sure that I've sort of exposed myself to more things in life. And yeah, if we are too focused on just one thing at hand, I think you really can start to miss out on other joys, and normally that is sharing experiences with others. And
also you kind of lose yourself, don't you? Of who you are.
Massively. But I think who you do surround yourself with is key. And I think sport has always been a real influential part of like who I am connecting with. And normally I find people who have shared goals and shared aspirations. So are positive influences.
Definitely, because it's like, I was thinking, it's the winning together.
Yeah.
It's the really people believing in your success and not being jealous is so, like, you doing something well and somebody actually being happy and
for sure
amazing for you without being jealous. It's so powerful, isn't it?
I've seen so many quotes recently as well, which are like, you know, someone else's successes isn't affecting yours, or someone else's successes shouldn't impact your day. Like the girls that I surround myself with, and I've got a small network of like genuine friends who I would like die for in that sense. But I know that they aren't my competitors. They're not people who I am comparing myself to. You know, they're people who are very much encouraging of what I want to do, and vice versa. But when we're here to challenge each other, very much so, in the sense of, you know, oh, you should be going and doing that. Like, oh, how come you didn't go do that? Not, oh, she's better than me, or she's prettier than me. Or all these things that actually are just wasted energy and wasted time. And your friends should very much be there to applaud. They should be there to, you know, be a shoulder to cry on, be someone to laugh with. They're not there to just compete against or, just, you know, it's important that they are there and you can celebrate each other's successes even when they're in the same field. And I've got a lot of girls that are in the same industry as me. And you best believe that, like, I'll applaud them.
Definitely. I think we underestimate how much other people shape us in our life. It's crazy how much they do.
For sure. And I think like that starts with, you know, your parents, your siblings, even sometimes if you don't get along, like all these things. Your partner, though, I think is a key, a very much a key person, because as much as like, you know, your friends can be some of your closest people, you see your partner a lot, and they can see you at your worst and your best. And, you know, if they are a supportive person, a good listener, also, you know, tell you when you need to just sort yourself out as well, then I think they are going to have the biggest influence on you. So I think that the partner that you choose is probably going to be one of the biggest decisions that you make.
Because like everything, the feelings of being wanted, the feelings of just them being there for you, no matter what.
Definitely. It's like that unconditional kind of feeling.
Now, I think anyone would say from what we spoke about today, and I would agree completely, that you are completely a role model, and you show and speak about the importance of showing girls and women how capable they are at doing stuff and not just viewed for their body image. How important is this to you? Is it significant?
Yeah, for sure. Like it's the reason why I have the business that I do. It's the reason why I want to coach others to probably not experience what I have, or if I can make sure that it's not to the extent that I did, or over, you know, even if it's a short duration of time rather than years, so getting them out of that thought process. I just think a lot of women underestimate their potential because they're too busy focusing on things that don't benefit them, which a lot of the time is just looking at who we are from like a body. It's a massive part of why I want to compete on a personal level, because I want to prove to younger Georgie that actually you can become that athlete that you always wanted to, but you're never going to do it if you are trying to eat as little as possible and burn yourself into the ground. And I have had the opportunity to help a lot of women come out of those positions, and be able to look at themselves in the mirror now and go, like, I'm generally happier in my skin. And that is like a massive reason why I want to wake up each day and go and do it again. Now, don't get me wrong, running your own business can be really difficult, and being an empathetic person can be really difficult sometimes, because you tend to take on a lot of people's emotions, but it's probably one of the most rewarding things that I've ever done.
Of course. Do you think you feel like what can I say? You've got a responsibility to want to do it. I know you want to, but do you feel like you have a responsibility as well to show others?
Yeah, I think so. I think without the pressure, but I think over time, like, your language can change on socials, can't it? From being like, I'm just showing up as a coach who wants to help women, and now I'm showing up as a coach and athlete, and I'm doing that in practice. But I think I've always got within my language on socials talking about empowering you to, you know, do that challenge, or not be afraid to see what your body's capable of. Or, you know, I put out a piece of content recently, which was the HYROX photos had been taken of me, and I saw, and I'm shying away from the fact that I saw personal imperfections of mine that I would consider imperfections, but I wasn't afraid to then go and put them on socials and go, if I'm am I that more bothered about that than actually saying, I've just gone and done a HYROX Pro with my best mate and we managed to hit our goal time. That's more important than focusing on this. And it allowed a lot more women to go, oh my God, yeah, like, I didn't really like my HYROX photos, but I was actually really happy with my time, and put into perspective that means a lot more, because that's what you've been training for. You haven't been training to tear yourself apart or be worried. And don't get me wrong, the HYROX photos are not glamorous at all. They're really, really not. But it's putting into perspective, like, what is your primary focus? And if your primary focus is tearing yourself apart or worrying about, like, you know, maybe some sort of imperfection on your body, then I would like to encourage you to look at that differently. So yeah.
I think even 99% of people, when they would look at that post anyway, would see, like, oh my God, look at the achievement of, like, the HYROX, not like, oh, look at that photo, that's dodgy.
Yeah.
I don't think people would even think that, but, like, consciously ourselves, we just, like, we put too much judgment on, like, oh, how did I look there?
I know.
And it's like, but then like nobody else cares about
No
it.
one looks good after
Yeah.
doing 80 metres of burpees
Should
either,
we
do you
though?
know what I
Should
mean?
you though? And if you do, are you
If
actually
your hair
doing
is
it?
still intact, then give me some advice because I need some help.
A lot of hairspray, maybe. What is your opinion on social norms? Do you think we are moving away from them?
Yeah, I actually do think we
Mhm.
are, like, from, if we take body image, for example, I think we're very much in a society now which is far more accepting than when we used to be, say, even like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, which is not a long time at all. I think there's always going to be trends that come back in. Like, there's been, in recent kind of like the last 12 to 18 months, talks around this whole, I'm not sure whether you've heard of it, but like heroin chic, which basically is like looking the thinnest that you possibly can. But ultimately, women within the industry now, and especially within the fitness industry, who are doing similar to me within their communities and talking about not just how you look and what your body can do, and actually, have you got things going on outside of just sport alone, are fighting back. And actually, there's more women speaking up about that, which is amazing to see. And that wasn't happening when, I was like 14, 15, 16. It was all just like, are you the skinniest? Are you the most tanned? Are you all these things? So as much as I think, those social norms will always be a thing, I think there's definitely more opportunity to just be yourself. And if you are outside of those norms, that is not an issue.
Definitely. I would even say there's more cultural support to
Definitely.
do that from both sides, because I think more men are dropping, because I think even men are having, from like a male side, are dropping egos to where like both people are valued the same, where
Yeah.
norms of past people would say more just look at women on their image instead of like their
Definitely.
skills or
Yeah.
like what they are, the outputs they can do in sport,
For
in
sure.
business, in life. And I think we're becoming a bit more leveled in that way,
Yeah.
which is obviously a huge positive and it's helping. But it's just having people like yourself to show that cultural support to other girls and women, because you need that, don't you? Because
Yeah.
no matter, men can be there and support and agree with the changes, so what, but unless there's people out there
Who are like reinforcing it. Yeah.
who are relatable to the young girls or women,
For
then
sure.
it's not gonna. Yeah.
No, I agree. And I'm, because I don't just follow women as well. Like I do follow lots of guys within the industry who, again, very much kind of are reinforcing the fact that maybe I once never thought I could do this and now I am. And it's got nothing to do with what I look like. And I love that, because I've got brothers who I love and adore and care about, and I would never want them to also feel critical of themselves. And I know they both have gone through that as well. So it's important that it's on both parties.
Definitely.
But yeah, it's I think there's more people probably pushing against social norms. I think they'll always be there.
There'll be them people,
and that's totally fine, and they can crack on and probably live a really unhappy
life.
existence.
Very true. Does it excite you to see women or young girls like pushing the boundaries or like doing unbelievable things? Like it
Yeah.
must excite you so
It's
much.
so cool.
It
Like,
must
it's
push
so
you
cool.
as well. It must motivate you to
Yeah.
push yourself.
It is really cool. Like, if I take, for example, the Elite 15 in HYROX, there's so many women in there from, we've got a 16 to 24 age category. I don't know if the youngest girl in there is like maybe 22. I want to say, but that's still young. Like, as a woman,
young,
like
yeah.
you're not even in your prime when it comes to like strength and endurance. Like, I'm kind of getting to that now, which is exciting, because I'm like, okay, well, how fast and how strong can I get? And I'd rather that type of language be happening. And I think the more that I surround myself with girls within that environment who are also younger than me and already doing it, I'm just so glad to see that that's happening from like younger years now. And every single one of those women within the Elite 15 look different, like height, shape, size, like just look as a whole. Not one of them is a clone of each other. And that's really cool, because I think the more like kids who are getting into the HYROX or the HYROX rock stars, it is, I think it is with the kids.
Oh, that's sick though,
Yeah,
isn't
it's
it?
so cool. They're looking up to them and going, well, maybe I want to be like her because I feel connected to her, or I aspire. She looks a bit like me, or because, you know, you look
we do that with athletes, don't we?
Yeah, you do. You do. And I mean, you know, if you go back a little bit to like just, you think about dolls or Barbies, everyone looks the same. Whereas now within women in sport, it's so varied. And that's like a really exciting thing. But I think there's more and more girls probably hating on, less hating on PE and things like that nowadays. So I don't know whether you at school like saw probably so many girls as well just were trying to get out of PE and out of fear of like body being seen, or, you know, maybe doing something they're not good at. Whereas I think it's encouraging more and more now that like actually just go and do it.
Yeah, 100%. Because I compare myself when I was in school to, I've got siblings who are in primary school, and it's like, it might sound so silly, but at lunchtime when you used to play footy, girls never used to play. Now it's like boys and girls are playing footy together.
I was the one girl.
Yeah.
I was kicking that football.
There was always one, wasn't
there was always one.
But now it's like, there's girl footy teams, and it's every sport as well. And like, it's just so sick to see that there's so much support both sides
behind it.
Growing. And I love like how you said about the image of like, you can see anyone, someone tall, someone small, someone with a lot of muscle mass, someone who's quite like got a runner's build or whatever.
Yeah, you can relate to it.
In some way you can relate to somebody.
Definitely. I hope there's lots of little ginger girls looking up at me and going,
definitely.
100%. No, I'm messing.
No, definitely. Sick. Well, you might know, obviously, I asked you for a contact I can get in touch with.
Yeah.
And you give me Alex. And I basically asked Alex, what is his opinion of you? How does he see you as a person through his eyes?
On a good day.
Hopefully. I think it is like, well, I've got his message. By the way, he sent me, I think it was a good 2 messages, nearly like.
Oh, really?
If you put it on a piece of paper, maybe a full page. So
really?
I have to summarize it a little bit so I can put it in here, but I will give it to you afterwards as well.
Thank you.
So I'll read it out to you, and then I want to get your thoughts and opinion on it. Okay. When I think of Georgie, what stands out most is her genuine kindness. She cares deeply, supports others, and lifts them up, all while staying focused on her own goals. She's relentless in everything she does, whether building a business or hitting her fitness targets, showing up every day with the same drive, discipline, and quiet confidence. Watching her is truly inspiring, and I genuinely believe she's someone young people should look up to. Proof that consistency and self-belief can create something incredible. Oh, and tell her she's extremely beautiful.
That's really sweet. That's actually made me quite teary, to be honest.
Oh, what's it like to have, like, I know we're talking about the importance of like a partner, and I totally agree, like the power of like the confidence that they give you, but like, what's it like that you have somebody in your team who's saying that about you?
I think it's absolutely lovely, and I really, really, really do value it like completely, because I've been in some past relationships as well where that very much wasn't the case. And I think we're both very sporty people, and we've come from those backgrounds where, you know, you've been in competitive environments, and you know, you're always around people in the camaraderie. And I think we very much kind of are our own little team in itself. But I think at the base of like with mine and Alex's relationship, we've got like such a strong friendship where we'll back each other so much that maybe a bit deluded in terms of backing each other.
I can see it on your socials. I love it. Like, I think it was the other week, I loved the video where you were supporting him doing his half marathon. Yeah. And it was like the realness of that and showing the real support, and then him being at it's just like
exactly. And I think we do it for each other, and it's not a competition again. It's not like, I mean, he's an absolutely incredible basketballer, and he would put that down completely. Whereas, and I would say if he's shit, I actually would say if he was shit, but he's not. And I think, you know, we're both, I hate the word humble, but like humble in the sense of not needing to brag. We don't need to big each other up or one each other up to feel like, you know, supported by one another. I think we show that in ways which we just need. And, you know, that might be different for somebody else, but yeah, I think we just very much are, if you want to go and challenge that, then I'll support you to go do it. And if you need me to be at that event, I'll be there. I mean, he's a very good videographer as well on HYROX, because you can't see trying to go around. But no, I just think if you can find like a really solid friendship there as well, that's the key, isn't it? Sound foundation to
below everything. There's a friendship that's like unbreakable, shall we say?
Yeah, for sure. Because you laugh with your friends. We'd hope you'd laugh with your friends. You can cry with your friends. You can go and do random spontaneous stuff with them. Like, you should be doing that with your partner, and maybe they're just there on a heightened emotional level.
Yeah, amazing. Well, I have a closing tradition on the podcast. It's called The Walkway, and the question is, if somebody walked a day in your shoes, what's one lesson they'd learn?
Just to back yourself completely. I think, and even when it's not going well, sometimes as well, like if I just expand on that a little bit more, when I first started coaching, I always thought, oh my God, they're going to know that like I don't know certain things. But I think if you back yourself and you go and educate yourself, you start to hold that kind of air about you. And I think if you spent a day with me, I'd probably, encourage you to basically back yourself completely without question, even when you're wrong.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your energy. Thank you for being such a role model to so many. And your content's amazing. And thank you for being so open and honest.
I appreciate it loads, and right back at you as well. I think you're doing an amazing thing, and hope you continue to do it and have many more guests.
Thank you very much.